Welcome to part 6, attaching the motor to the gearbox, basically. Alright, so based off the recommendation from the store where I bought the BBX, which was Michael's RC up near like North Orlando, Florida, they actually recommended the Sidewinder for a combo. So basically it's the ESC combined with a motor. Here's the basic information. Trying to avoid the glare. I like how it gives you this information on the back. Sorry, it's glared. What's the Sidewinder for? There we go. Here's the ESC, electronic speed controller. Sorry, I had it upside down. There we go. Now, it came with an EC5 connector, and unfortunately, I went ahead and had them do a quick solder on the battery connection. They actually ended up doing an EC3, so I had to get some adapters for it, but I'll explain that later. I like how it's got your controller, switch, I believe it's temperature, telemetry, or to go to the motor. I don't remember. Sorry, not all the details right there. Anyway, I know it's a good system. That's the electronic speed controller. And here's the motor. It's a Censored 14 series. Here's the info. There we go. Yeah, let me go ahead and get the motor out. So this is the motor I'm going to be putting in. I may have to shorten those, but I don't know that I'm going to mess with that. You have to watch the glare. Unfortunately, this ESC, if I remember, it cannot monitor. Yeah, it doesn't have the monitor port. So that's a whole censored versus sensorless, etc. So anyway, that's the motor I'm going to be hooking up. So let me get these put back. To continue with the motor mounting, as you can see, before we put the motor mount on, we got to put some grease on top of there. Get out my Q-tip again. Okay, that's not doing very well. This is like a polyfiber disc. In essence, it's kind of like a gasket, fiber gasket in a motor, in a car engine. It's trying to help seal up part of the outside of the engine there, which actually that one's sealed, which is nice, so we won't have to do too much. Right, I'm going to clock the motor to where the wires are coming out the back of it. So I'm going to go with there. We're going to go ahead and put this on. And I think I can get it right there. You just want to get it started. You don't want it perfectly tight yet, because you're going to have to adjust the pinion to the spur gear teeth. And you want it just a touch in between. tighten those up just a little bit for a second so I can put the spur gear on. Now your pinion gear, which goes on the motor, comparison to the spur gear determines your kind of your gear ratio. The standard that comes with the kit is an 18 tooth. So it's an 18 tooth pinion and grub screw. Okay. And it even tells you there on the end, so which you may not be able to see that, but just in case. Now I need to see if I need to put it on this way, because you need most engagement, but you don't want it to be bottoming out on the motor. Or do I need to turn it around? And is there enough grub screw to grab? As long as you can have 3/4 of the majority, like 80% or so, you can do okay. So, yep. All right. So let's get the grub screw started, actually, which I believe is 1 millimeter. Yeah, it's 1 millimeter, not 2. Make sure you don't cross thread, just get it started. And if you want, you can look down inside of it until you see it start to protrude. That should be good enough. Okay, so we're going to go with right there, actually. That's perfect. There. Yep, I'm going to tighten that down. You don't have to go like gorilla tight, you just need it tight. Okay? Alright, now I need to grab a piece of paper. I'll be right back. Okay. So I'm going to put the piece of paper in there. I'm going to loosen these back up just a touch. They should be able to, yeah, loosen them just a touch. Why are they not moving? There we go. Just took a little bit of finagling. That's too loose. You want it to where they engage, but not completely bottom out. See that sliding? It's just a little too much. There we go. That's good. Be careful that you don't gorilla screw them down. Okay. Here we go. Number 6. Good. Motor's mounted.